Hello, this is Mrs. Ridgway, and I will be focusing on Excel Chapter 4, Analyzing and Charting Financial Data. Look with me on page 4 of the textbook, 4-2 and 4-3. Pay attention to where the chart legend is located in a chart. A chart legend identifies the data markers associated with each data series. The chart title is a descriptive label or name for the chart. A pie chart presents data in the shape of a circle divided into slices, with each slice representing a single data category. A data label is text associated with an individual data marker, such as the percentage value next to a pie slice. A line chart displays data values using a connected line rather than columns or bars. There are chart grid lines in the background of each chart. These extend the values of the major or minor tick marks across the plot area. The Chart Tools contextual tabs appear on the ribbon when a chart is selected. So you'll look on page 3, you'll see Chart Tools. But you must first select the chart before you can see the Chart Tools contextual tab. A data marker displays an individual value from a data series. These data markers are columns in a column chart, the ones that you see here on page 3. The format pane will appear on the right side of a screen. The format pane provides a collection of commands to format chart elements. The options change based on the selected chart element. The chart area contains the chart and all of the other chart elements. The category values are the groups or the categories to which the data series values belong. These category values show the different investment periods. As you can see on page 3, 1 year, 3 years, 10 years, and so forth. Each chart has a data source, which is the range that contains the data to display in the chart. The data source in the range A2 through B7 is used in the pie chart. Okay, if you look at the bottom of page 3, you will see the data source used for the pie chart. A combination chart combines two chart types in a single chart. This chart combines, for example, here that you see here on page 2 and 3, you'll see at the bottom of the screen a combination chart which uses the combination of a line chart and a column chart. Okay, turn with me to page 4. Getting started with the Excel charts. In this module, you will acquire the skills you need to analyze financial data using Excel charts, which are graphic elements that illustrate data. First, we are to open Excel 4-1 and then name it Sunshine. And I've done that and I'm ready to go. Number 2, in the documentation sheet, enter your name in B4 and the date in B5. Number 3, review the financial data stored in the workbook and then return to the summary worksheet. All right, so I'm going to go through and look at, here's your summary sheet. Asset mix, growth history, the returns sheet, price and shares, volatility and return, and then here's the sector history. We're going to click on the summary worksheet, in which you'll summarize data stored in the other sheets of the workbook. The adage that a picture is worth 1,000 words is also true of data analysis. Oftentimes, it's just so much easier to just show the picture rather than trying to explain. If you look at the bottom of page 4, figure 4-1, Excel chart types and subtypes. You'll see the chart categories, column or bar, hierarchy, waterfall or stock, line or area, statistic, a pie chart, XY scatter or bubble, surface or radar, combo, map, pivot chart. So you'll see the different types of categories, and then there's a description to the right, and then further over is you'll see the chart subtypes where you can choose, for example, 2D column, 3D column, 2D bar, or 3D bar. On page 4-5, figure 4-2 shows data displayed with different Excel chart types. It's showing you an example of a pie chart, an example of a column chart, tree map chart, and a map chart. Creating a chart is a multi-step process involving selecting the data to display, choosing the chart type best suited to that data, and then finally formatting the chart's appearance to maximize the chart's impact. Turn with me to page 6. A pie chart presents data in a circle graph divided into slices, with each slice representing a single data category. Categories whose data values take up larger percentages of the whole are represented with larger slices. Categories that take up a smaller percentage of the whole are presented as smaller slices. Pie charts are most effective when the data can be divided into 6 or fewer categories. When you have more slices, the impact of individual slices becomes increasingly difficult to read and to interpret. So for a pie chart, it's best to work with 6 or smaller, divided into 6 or fewer categories. First of all, you've got to select the data source. The data displayed in a chart comes from a data source, which includes one or more data series and a set of category values. The data series is the actual values that are plotted on the chart. Categories are usually listed in the first column or row of the data source. All right, look with me at the bottom of page 6. If you'll look at figure 4-3, you'll see the data source covers the range A4 through B9, whereas the data series values are the amounts that you're seeing, and the category values are listed under asset. And then you see a little bitty square. This is your quick analysis tool, which provides access to chart types. It's another, it's a shortcut to choosing the chart types. On page 7, charting with the quick analysis tool, after you select the data source, like you saw over here in figure 4.3, the quick analysis tool will appear in the lower right corner of the selection. The charts category in the quick analysis tool displays chart types that are appropriate for the selected data source. All right, so let's start on step 1. We're going to select the data source for the pie chart. Go to the Asset Mix worksheet. Select the range A4 through B9. This range contains the names of the assets and the amount invested within each asset category. On page 7, we're going to create a pie chart with the quick analysis tool. Number 1, with the range A4 through B9 still selected, we're going to click the little square in the lower right corner. This is called the quick analysis button. Click the charts. The chart types you will most likely want to use with the selected data sources are listed here. Point to each chart type. See, there's cluster, so that you can see a preview. There's the pie. And then we're to select pie. Our pie chart has been created using the data source over in columns A and B. A chart is placed either within its own chart sheet, which you see here, or it's embedded within a worksheet. The advantage of an embedded chart is that it can be displayed alongside relevant text and tables in the worksheet. Okay, so excuse me, this is the embedded chart because it is embedded with its data information. Chart sheets are best used for charts that occupy a single page in a report or a printout. Okay, on page 8, we're going to move the embedded chart to the summary sheet. So make sure that the pie chart is selected, which it is. I see the little circles, the little handles. And then on the ribbon, we're going to go up and we're going to click Chart Tools Design. Okay, mine's already displayed. In the location group, we're going to click the Move Chart button. All right, so I'm going to move to the right, and I'm going to choose Move Chart. And then I'm going to click the object. Okay, here's the object in. I'm going to click the arrow, and I'm going to choose Summary Sheet. This is where I would like to move it to. And then I'm going to click OK. And now it moves over to the summary sheet, and it places inside the sheet itself. Now we're going to move and we're going to resize the pie chart. We're going to move the pointer over an empty part of the chart sheet, okay, until you see the arrows pointing up, down, left, and right. And then we're going to move it. We're going to drag it. Now, according to the book, it says hold down the Alt and drag the chart to G7. All right, so, but I can just drag it. You can use the Alt if you like. I'm going to drag it to G7, and that is in the upper left corner, and it snaps in. And then let's see, number 3, point to the sizing handle in the lower right corner of the selection box until the pointer changes to the resizing pointer. Okay, so it's pointing. You have like a little up and down arrow. And then they said, according to the book, hold the Alt, drag the sizing handle up to the lower right corner of cell H14. All right, we've resized the chart. Another way of moving chart is by cutting and pasting. I'm on page 10. I do need to point out at the top of page 10, the exploding a pie chart. Pie slices do not need to be fixed within the pie like you see here on the screen. An exploded pie chart moves one slice away from the others, as if someone were taking the piece away from the pie. Exploded pie charts are useful for emphasizing one category above the others. We're going to be working with chart elements. The individual parts of the chart are called chart elements. On page 11, oh, okay, so look at the bottom of page 10. They're pointing out the different common chart elements. It's pointing to the chart title. We've got the chart area, the plot area, the vertical axis title, the vertical axis numbers, the horizontal axis title, the horizontal axis, which is showing years, a legend, and the data label. The data label. The pie chart you created does not contain any data labels. All right, so on page 11, we're going to add the data labels chart element to the pie chart. With the pie chart still selected, click the chart elements button. Okay, so it's right here. This is the chart elements button. This one here is the chart styles, and then this one, chart filters. You have to, I'm going to click off of this. You must first click the chart, and then these will show. So I'm going to click chart elements button. A menu of chart elements associated with the pie chart will open up. As the check marks indicate, only the chart title and the chart legend are displayed in the pie chart. Point to the data labels, and you'll see a live preview that shows how the chart will look when the data labels show the dollar amount, which is in millions, invested within each category. Now, click the data labels check box, and this will select it. The data labels are added to the chart. Formatting a chart element. Each element listed in the Chart Elements button contains a submenu of common formatting choices. From within that submenu, you can also open a formatting pane that has an extensive menu of formatting options. Turn with me to page 12. We're going to format a data label. With the pie chart still selected, click Chart Elements, which is the plus. Okay, if you click it, it goes away. You click it again, and it shows. If necessary, we're looking at our submenu, and we're going to point to Data Labels, and then there is a right arrow. We're going to move to the right, and we're going to click on that right arrow. Okay, now it has its own submenu: center, inside end, outside end, best fit, data callout, and then there's more options. We're going to click the more options so you can get a look. This brings up the format data labels options to the right. The format data labels pane is divided into different sections indicated by the icons near the top of the pane. The formatting options for the data labels is selected by default. And that is this right here. This is the default I'm pointing to. Click the percentage checkbox to add percentages to the data labels for each pie. So I'm going to click right now. We have the values, and we're showing legend lines. I'm going to click percentage. Then click the value checkbox. We're going to deselect value to take away the amount and just leave the percentage. Scroll down the Format Data Labels pane and then click the outside end. All right, so now we're going to make a change to the label position, which is the best fit, is what it's showing right now. And we're going to choose that we want these percentages outside end. It places the data labels outside and at the end of each pie slice. The format pane is attached, or it's docked to the right side of the workbook window, as you see. From the format pane, you can format other chart elements as well. Page 13, number 1, we're going to move and format the pie chart legend. In the Format Data Labels pane, click the Label Options arrow. All right, that's what this is. Directly below the Format Data Labels title. All right, let's see here. It wants us to click this in the Format Data Labels pane. Click the Label Options arrow. Okay, so that's this up here, the Label Options. So I'm going to click the Label Options arrow directly below the Format Data Labels title, and then click Legend. So here's Legend in the list of chart elements. The name of the format pane changes to Format Legend, and options for formatting the pie chart legend appear in the pane. In the Legend Options section, we're going to click Right. Right now it's showing bottom, so we're going to click Right. And so now we have the legend to the right of the pie. Click the Fill and Line icon, which is the paint bucket. And then we're going to click Fill. You're familiar with color fill. We're going to click the solid fill. Right now it's automatic. We're going to choose solid fill for the background of the legend. And then we're going to click the fill color button, which is down here. Paint bucket is now showing blue, and we're going to select Gold Accent 5, 80%. Let's see what this says, 25. Okay, so it's the first one, 80%, and it changes the color background of our legend in the pie chart. Close. Okay, so we're going to close the Format Legend pane right here. Another way of modifying the chart layout is to choose a pre-defined layout from Quick Layout button on the Chart Tools Design tab. Now we're going to be choosing a chart style. Rather than formatting individual chart elements, you can apply one of the built-in chart styles to apply a professional design to all elements of the chart. Chart styles can be accessed either through the Chart Styles button, which looks like a paintbrush right here, next to a selected chart, or it can be done through the Chart Styles gallery on the Chart Tools Design tab at the top. You see, look for the group Chart Styles here, or it can be done here. With the pie chart still selected, we're going to click the Chart Styles little paintbrush, and then we're going to scroll down through the gallery of chart styles, pointing to each entry in the gallery so that you can see what each one would look like. This is the one where it moves the legend down. Okay, and then we're pointing at each one as we move down. Okay, so here's 6. All right, so it says pointing to each entry in the gallery to see a preview of the chart with that style. Figure 412 shows a preview of design of style 6 chart style applied to the asset mix pie chart. All right, and then step 3 on page 15 says to press the escape to close the chart style gallery. So I'm going to press escape again. Changing the color scheme. Well, each chart has a color scheme, and by default, Excel applies the theme colors to the pie chart slices. You can select a different color scheme from the Chart Styles button in the Colors submenu. We're going to change the pie slice colors. So click the Chart Styles, which is, we've got to click the chart first, and then click the little paintbrush for Chart Styles to reopen the gallery of the chart styles. Then we're going to click the Color tab. All right, so here's Styles, and then we're going to choose the Color tab to display a gallery of possible color schemes. Select the blue. All right, so monochromatic. Okay, blue. Okay, so we're going down here to monochromatic. Select the blue color scheme labeled monochromatic palette 1. Okay, so it's the very first one, palette 1. And notice how it changes the table or the little pie chart. Because the color schemes are based on theme colors, you can change the color schemes by selecting new theme colors from the colors box in the themes group on the page layout tab. If you don't want to change the workbook's color theme, then you can change the color of individual pie slices if you like. To change a pie slice to another color, all you would need to do is double click that slice to select only that one slice, and then choose a color from your fill color button, which is the paint bucket, which is located in our font group on the home tab. An embedded chart takes up less space than a chart sheet. However, it can be challenging to fit all the chart elements into that smaller space. So one solution is to overlay one element on top of another. The most commonly overlaid elements are the chart title and the chart legend. To overlay the chart title, you would just simply click the chart title arrow in the chart elements list, and then you would select centered overlay as the position option. Anyway, you got to keep in mind though that too much overlaying of chart elements can make a chart very difficult to read, so you want to be very careful on that. You can read more information about overlaying chart elements on page 16 in the textbook. Performing what-if analysis with charts, we kind of looked at what-if in chapter 3. Because a chart is linked to its data source, any changes in the data source values will be reflected automatically in the chart. All right, on page 17, let's look at to modify the pie chart's data. We're going to go to the Asset Mix worksheet. All right, so we're going to click right here. And then in cell B5, we're going to change the value to 63. Oh, okay, so we're just changing from 7 to 6, $63,804.15. And this is going to reflect the correct amount invested in the U.S. equities. All right, now in cell A9, okay, we're going to change the text to cash. So I'm just going to double click, put it in edit mode, and delete, and then press enter. So we've made a change to the data source. We've made a change to the categories and to the data itself. Go to the summary worksheet now. So let's go and let's check it out. So now we have cash. We changed it in the legend. And then we've made a change to, what was it, to B5. We changed the value to reflect the correct amount for the U.S. equities, which is this darker color here. These are the equities here. If you want a chart to focus on fewer categories, you can filter the chart by removing one or more of the categories. Removing a category has no impact on the data source. So let's say you want to focus on the U.S. investments. You can filter the pie chart to show the breakdown of assets between U.S. equities and U.S. bonds, we'll say, for example. We're going to filter the pie chart. Select the pie chart, which I'm already selecting it. I'm just going to click down here to get rid of the colors. Okay, let's see. Select it if it's not already selected, and then we're going to click the filter button right here. Okay, it's next to the chart. We're going to it opens up a list of data categories. Click the non-US equities. Okay, non. So we're going to take that from the pie. Click the non-US bonds, and then click the cash to deselect. And then we're going to click apply. And you'll see that those three categories have been taken away from the pie chart. We now have the two that are remaining, the two that are checked. The pie chart shows that like 65% of the non-cash U.S. investments are in equities and 35% are in bonds. Now we're going to double click the select all. Right here, double click, and now we have all of the boxes checked. And then we're going to click apply so that it will change the pie from two categories to all of the categories. Next, you will use a column chart to explore the level of returns that the fund has provided for investors over the past 10 years. We're going to be creating a column chart. A column chart displays data values as columns with the height of each column based on the data value. A column chart turned on its side is called a bar chart, with the length of the bar determined by the data value. It is better to use column and bar charts than pie charts when the number of categories is large or when the data categories are close in value. Look at figure 4-15. You see the pie chart, and then you see a column chart. Unlike pie charts, which could show only one data series, column and bar charts can display multiple data series. Look at figure 4-16. Compare the column chart subtypes. We have the clustered column, the stacked column, and the 100% stacked column. Column charts are plotted against a value axis displaying the values from the data series, and a category axis displaying the category values associated with each data series. Look at the clustered column picture. A clustered column chart displays the data series values in separate columns side by side so that you can compare the relative heights of values across categories. Now look at the stacked column. A stacked column chart combines the data series values within a single column to show how much of the total is contributed by each of the category items. And then finally, look at the 100% stacked column chart. The 100% stacked column chart makes the same comparison as the stacked column chart, except that the stacked sections are expressed as percentages of the whole. We're going to be creating a clustered column chart. The process for creating a column chart is the same as for creating a pie chart. First, you must select the data source and then choose a chart type and then choose a subtype. I'm on page 19. We're going to create a clustered column chart. So go to the returns worksheet. So we're going to go to the bottom and click on Returns Worksheet. This contains the returns based on month-end values. Select the range A4 through C9. All right, so A4 through C9. These contain the categories and the values to chart. On the ribbon, we're going to click the Insert tab. So Insert. And then in the Charts group, so we're going to go down and we're going to look at the Charts group right here. We're going to click the Recommended Charts button. The Insert Chart dialog box opens to the Recommended Charts tab. From this tab, you can preview and select a chart that best suited to the data source. All right, so we're looking to the left at all the different recommended charts. And as you click each one, it will preview it to the right. Page 20, confirm that the clustered column chart is selected. All right, so I'm going to click up here. That is the clustered column chart. And then we're going to click OK. It embeds it into the worksheet along with its data information. On the Chart Tools Design tab, in the Location group, we want to go up and we're going to move this sheet. So I'm going to click Move Chart and go back to the Move Chart box, Object in. We've got to tell it where we want to place it. So I'm going to click the down arrow and we're going to place it in the Summary sheet. So choose Summary from the list and then click OK. It moves it to the Summary worksheet. In the Summary worksheet, we're going to move and resize the chart to fit in A17. All right, so I'm going to grab it and move it to A17 through B. So we're moving B28. All right, now the chart snaps to the grid. The column chart shows that the Sunrise Fund has generally outperformed the S&P 500 index for most of its life, and especially during the previous 3-year and 10-year periods. However, in the current year to date, the fund is performing worse than S&P 500, and in fact, is showing a negative return in value. When a chart has a single data series, the name of the data series is used for the chart title. We're going to change the title of the column chart. So at the top of the column chart, click Chart Title. This will select it, and then start typing month end returns. All right, it's not typing where you have your mouse, but it is typing up in your formula bar. Look above in the formula bar. You have typed it there, and when you press enter, it will replace chart title with month end returns. Excel automatically sets the space between the data series in a column chart as well as the gap width between one category value and the next. You can modify the space between the data series and gap width using the format pane that pops up to the right. We're going to set the column chart gap and interval widths. So double click any column in the column chart. All right, and notice that the Format Data Series pops up over to the right, and pane, and it has the Series Option section already selected. all right, and it is series options, which is all right, and that's what this is right here. Notice that it's got a little arrow pointing to it, the series options. Select the series overlap box. Okay, that's this right here. Right now it's showing a negative 27%. And then we're going to change the space between the data series to a negative 10. So I'm going to click down. Oop, up. Okay. Now, as you're clicking, I want you to pay attention to what's happening. I'm going to go back to 28. And as you're clicking, I want you to watch what happens in the column chart. So as you're clicking, notice what's happening in between each of the two categories that are being compared. We're going to select the gap width. All right, so here's our gap width. And we want to increase the value of the gap between the category values to 300%. So while you're clicking, I believe that's the up button. Yes, while you're clicking the up button, I want you to pay attention to what is happening to the column chart. You can just press down on it and it'll go quickly. So in summary, the negative series overlap values, they move the columns within a category closer together. The gap width sets the space between category values in the column chart. Okay, we're going to close the Format Data Series pane. Page 22, adding grid lines to a chart. Another way of distinguishing columns in separate categories is with grid lines. A grid line is a line that extends from the chart's horizontal and vertical axis into the plot area, making it easier to identify the values or the categories associated with the chart's data markers. We're going to add vertical grid lines to the chart. So with the column chart still selected, click the Chart Elements button. That's the plus. Okay, so then it's going to display, as you can see, a list of the chart elements associated with column charts. Click click the arrow to the right of grid lines, right here. And then we're going, from this submenu, we're going to choose Primary Major, Vertical, and watch what happens to your chart when you check it. Let me uncheck it. I'm going to check it again. The next chart, we're going to add the summary. We're going to add it to the summary worksheet. Let's see here. I guess we're to leave this one here. Then it says the column chart is complete. The next chart that the person wants added to the summary worksheet analyzes how the value of the fund has changed over the past 20 years. So we're going to be creating a line chart. A line chart uses lines to plot one or more data series against a set of categories. So we're going to be using a line chart that compares the growth of an investment in the Sunrise Fund to the Standard & Poor's 500 index. To create the growth history line chart, go to the growth history worksheet. Let's find it at the bottom. growth history, and then select range A4 through C25. This contains the growth of the Sunrise Fund and the S&P 500 index from a hypothetical 10,000 initial investment. On the ribbon, click the Insert tab, and then in the Charts group, click Recommended Charts. The dialog box opens to the Recommended Charts tab. We want to confirm that the line chart type is selected, and it is, and then we're going to click OK. And now it's been inserted into the growth history worksheet. We're going to move the chart to the summary worksheet. So we're going to go up to the top to the ribbon, choose Move Chart, click the down arrow. We want to move the object in, we want to move it to the summary, and then click OK. Move and resize the line chart so that it covers the range D17. All right, so I'm going to grab D17 through E28. Move it some more this way, E, and then go down some. In the chart, click Chart Title, and then that will select Chart Title, and then start typing growth. Again, it's going to type up in the formula bar above. Growth of 10K investment, and then press Enter. Okay, it shows up in the chart. The line chart shows that the value of the Sunrise Fund exceeds the S&P 500 index for most of the past 20 years. Only in its early history did the fund fall below the S&P 500 in value. All right, so now we're going to flip to page 24. You can modify the axis labels and tick marks to change which category values are displayed in the chart. First, we're going to format the horizontal axis. Double-click one of the years on the horizontal axis. Okay, I'm just going to double-click on one of these, and it opens up the Format Axis pane. Double-click. Oh, one of the years. Okay, I needed to go down to the years. So let me double-click on the years, and it brings up the Format Axis pane. At the top of the Format pane, click the Axis Options. Here it is, right here. Axis Options. And then scroll down and click. Okay, so that's not it. Let's see. Axis Options. Let's see if that's it. Yes, so we're going to click the Access Options button. That's where I overlooked. I didn't read button. Scroll down and click Tick Marks. Right down below here, Tick Marks. To view options for modifying the tick marks on the category axis. In the interval between marks box, change the value to 5. Here's the interval between marks. We're going to change this to 5 so that the tick marks are laid out in 5-year intervals instead of 1-year intervals. Click the Major Type arrow, okay, and then click Cross, so that the tick marks are displayed as crosses. click Labels to expand that section. Okay, down here, Labels, and then click the Specify Interval Unit. It's right here, Specify Interval Unit. So I'm going to click here instead of Automatic, and enter 5 instead of 1. And press, okay, then we're going to press Enter. All right, now this displays the year labels at 5-year intervals. You can modify date categories by clicking the Date Access option button in the Access Type section of the Format Access pane. Formatting data markers. Each value from a data series is represented by a data marker. In pie charts, the data markers are the individual pie chart or pie slices. In column charts, the columns are the data markers. In a line chart, the data markers are the points connected by the line. Depending on the line chart style, these data marker points can be displayed or they can be hidden. On page 25, we're going to display and format the line chart data markers. So within the line chart, double-click the blue line for the Sunrise Fund. All right, so double-click. And this will display the Format Data Series pane. And that's on the right side of your screen. At the top of the Format pane, click the Fill and Line button. Okay, so click the paint bucket is what you're clicking. And then scroll to the top of the pane and click Marker. All right, so I'm just going to move down just a little and I'm going to choose Marker. And then we're going to click Marker Options right here to open up the marker options. We're going to display options specific to the data markers. Click the Automatic. All right, so we're going to choose, we want them, so Automatic option button to automatically display the markers along with the line for the Sunrise Fund data series. The data markers are now visible in the line chart, but they have a blue fill color, which is making it hard to see. So what we're going to do is change this fill color to white. In the fill section, which is below the marker options, click on Solid Fill and then go down to the color bucket and choose white. The fill color for the data markers for the Sunrise Fund line should have changed to white from blue. Repeat these steps for the green line that represents S&P 500 index. All right, so I'm going to click here. And then we want to Automatic. We want Solid Fill, and we want white. Close the Format Data Series pane. I'm going to click outside here and close. By adding the data markers, you now have a better view of individual values in the plot that's been plotted in the line chart. Page 26, we're going to be creating a combination chart. So far, the charts you created have only one chart type. A combination chart combines two chart types, enabling you to display each data series using the chart type best suited for it. When the data series Values cover vastly different ranges. You can plot one data series against the primary axis and the vertical axis appearing along the primary axis, which is the vertical axis appearing along the left edge of the chart. I don't know if you can see my mouse as I'm moving it back and forth over these numbers. This is your primary axis, the vertical axis along the left edge of the chart. And then the other data series against the secondary is against the secondary axis. We would have some information over here if we had a secondary. So your primary would be where you see this dollar amount, and then over to the right would be the secondary axis, which would be the vertical axis on the chart's right edge. The next chart that we're going to do, we're going to add to the summary worksheet so that it will display the recent performance of the Sunrise Fund, showing its daily selling price and the number of shares traded over the past 3 months. To create the combination chart, we're going to go to the Price and Shares worksheet. Price and Shares worksheet. And we're going to select A4 through C69. On the ribbon, click the Insert tab, choose Recommended Charts, and then click the All Charts tab. Oh, right here, right next to Recommended Charts, the All Charts tab to see previews of all the Excel chart types. In the list of chart types, we're going to choose Combo. See, that's column, here's line. We're going to go all the way to the bottom and choose a combo. Click the Custom Combination Chart subtitle. Custom Combination. Let's see if it's this one here, Custom Combination. So we're going to click the Custom Combination Chart subtitle. At the bottom of the dialog box, right down here at the very bottom, choose the chart type and axis for your data series box lists 2 data series in the selected data. First, you need to select the chart types to display the price data. The price data. In the Choose the Chart Type and Axis for your data series box, click the chart type line. Okay, so we're going to click here, and we would like for the line to represent price. Now we need to select the chart type for the shares traded data series. So click the shares traded, the chart type arrow, and then choose clustered columns. In the shares traded row, we want to choose this as our secondary axis. So all of the information related to shares traded will be to the right, and the information vertically in the primary axis is related to price. And then we're going to click OK. Move the combination chart to the summary sheet. All right, so we're going to go up to Move the Chart. We're going to choose to move it to the summary. Click OK. And then move it to A31. Find it. Okay. Oh, we're down here. Okay, A31 through D43. Here's D. Oh, we're going to go up to 43. All right, A31 through D43. All right, click the chart title and type price and shares traded. Press enter. And this inserts the new chart title. Click the Chart Elements button and then click the arrow next to Legend. Okay, and we're going to click the right. We want to move the legend to the right instead of the bottom. The combination chart clearly shows a downward trend in prices, and that's the line chart, a downward trend in prices over the past 3 months. There does not seem to be any pattern in the number of shares traded each day during the time. Now we're going to add an axis title. An axis title is descriptive text that appears next to a chart's horizontal or vertical axis. Axis titles describe the values displayed on those axes. All right, so with the combination chart still selected, we're going to click the chart elements, and that's where we're at. And then axis titles right here, check box. That selects it. Titles are added to all 3 axes. See, 1, 2, and 3. The right, left, bottom, and the right. Click at axis title next to the primary axis. Okay, primary's over here to the left. And then type price. Press enter. And then the axis title, so we're going to go to the bottom and click axis title and type the word date. Press enter. And then click axis title next to the secondary axis, which is right here, and type shares traded. Shares traded. With the shares traded title still selected, click the Home tab up in the ribbon, Home tab ribbon, and then in the alignment group, choose Orientation button, which is that AB. All right, so we're going to probably flip this around, and we're going to rotate the text down. Okay, so now it's facing the opposite direction. The axis title is rotated for better visibility. Excel automatically chooses the range of values or scale used on the value primary and secondary axes. For the price data series, the scale ranges from $26 to $34. And for the shares trade data series, the scale ranges from 0 to 70 million. Excel automatically divides the scale into regular intervals marked on the axis with tick marks and labels. Major tick marks identify the main units on the chart axis, while the minor tick marks identify the smaller intervals between the major tick marks. The major tick marks for the price series are placed at intervals of $1. And the major tick marks for the shares trade series are placed at intervals of 10 million shares. There are no minor tick marks in the combination chart. So we'll need to use the format axis pane to specify a different scale for the secondary axis, changing the size of the scale used with the shares traded data. We also need to expand the scale of the secondary axis so that the data markers for the column chart don't overlap the contents of the line chart. So, first thing we need to do, I'm on page 29, at the bottom of page 29, we're going to set the scale of the secondary axis. Double-click the secondary axis values. And this will open up the Format Axis pane to the right. Click the Axis Options button, if necessary, and then click the Axis Options label. And then click, I said label, the Axis Options label. I guess it must be this one right here. Okay. In the Bounds section at the top of the list of Axis Options, click, okay, let me look here. Okay, so we're going to go up to the top here, and we are to click the maximum box. Here's maximum. And enter 1.6 capital E 08. That represents 160 million as the top end of your scale for the secondary axis. All right, so we're going to increase it from 70 million to 160 million. Let's see what happens. Okay, then we're to press tab to enter the new scale value. Oops. Okay, so we entered it here, and then I got to press the tab to enter the new scale value. The scale of the secondary axis expands so that the column chart is displayed below the line. Okay, so look at your chart now. It's showing the 160 million. All right, now let's go to page 30 to set the display units for the secondary axis. Okay. In the Format Access pane, we're going to scroll down and we're going to click the Display Units. Okay, we're right down here, Display Units box. I wonder if it's this. And we're going to select millions. Okay, right here, millions. The unit label millions is added to the secondary axis, as you can see looking at your chart. And the axis displays the axis values in units of 1 million. All right, so that's what it's supposed to look like. I'm looking at the picture. Close the Format Access pane. Save the workbook, and this concludes session 1 of Excel Chapter 4.